All right, we are back. I'm so excited because Pajama Party Profits is back and we are partying today. We have a very interesting guest. I met Julie at a networking conference and she really literally blew my mind. And I said, you have to come on and show everybody what you do. And her story about how she got there is even better. So if you haven't had a chance yet, go ahead and click subscribe and let me introduce to you Julie. Welcome, Julie.
Hey, Brenda, thanks for having me.
So I told everyone that you have a story to tell. You, like many people here in Houston, was working in the oil industry. Is that right?
That's correct.
And it's a pretty lucrative industry, one that's not easy to step away from.
That's right.
But what happened?
Well, I was working a contract position as an analyst at a company, and just as you said, you know, the income was fabulous, and I had the opportunity to work with my son, which was always a neat thing to be able to work with your child. So, but I just felt like I kind of reached my plateau. I'd been in the industry for over a decade, and I felt like I wanted more. Something else was missing. And I wanted to pull together my passions and hobbies, which were nutrition, holistic healing, psychology, and empowering people. I love helping people and empower them to achieve their goals. So I initially was going to become a nutritional coach. I took an online class, and one of my classmates was talking about these numbers that had to do with the birth date. And I was kind of intrigued, and I thought, all right, so what do they mean? I got these 3 numbers, and I'm thinking, what do I do with them? She goes, well, just go check out the author's website. There was a book that she got them from. And I'm thinking, it's kind of lame, right? So I thought, all right, I'll go do it. I didn't see anything about these birth date numbers, but what I did see was face reading. So I thought, well, this is kind of intriguing also. Maybe if I schedule a reading, then I'll get the answer of what these numbers mean. So I did schedule a reading.
Right there, just real quick, because you told me, I mean, you mentioned that when I saw you at your speaking event, you said, oh, maybe I'll get these numbers. Did you ever understand what those were? Were they life path numbers? Or
yeah, they were. It's, you know, you think of birth date numbers, you think of astrology or numerology or something like that. And this is not that. This is something called 9-star key, and it's very old. It's based on feng shui, I Ching, and Chinese astrology. And basically, all of this is based on the 5 elements of Chinese medicine. But this specifically, the birth date part, is what you don't see in the face. And the Chinese believe that the moment you were born, the energies present were imprinted in you. So predetermined were your main personality, how you show up under stress or emotionally, and your life purpose, life challenges. So that's what came through. And that's what those numbers meant. And they're all different. So people always, when I say I'm going to go look up their birth date numbers, they're like, oh, it's a such and such or a such and such. And I'm like, this is completely different, but thank you for that information.
Okay, so when we're talking, and I'm just going to keep you on that track for just a second. I promise we'll get to what you actually, more of what you do. But it's one of the things that hits me, because I, like you, am really into a lot of the less traditional methods of medicine, and really a big believer in energy and things like that. Now I've heard about I can't pronounce it right, but Ashikic records, Ashikic records, like past records from
past energy. I don't remember the pronunciation, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so these things that the Chinese say we're born with, and these things that are imprinted on us, does that mean they stay there? Like we're predetermined?
It's predetermined. Now, and tell me if you want me to elaborate on that a little bit, or if you want to wait and talk about that later.
Go ahead and tell me. Okay. I want to know, am I stuck with the person that I am, or am I?
Well, here's the deal. This is, you know, we come into this world and we've got these lessons to learn, right? So, you know, there was one person I was doing a reading for over the phone, and I was talking about the numbers and what they indicated about her. And she said, no. And she kept saying no about all these things. And I was like, really questioning myself. I thought, is this not working? It usually works. This is usually very accurate. But what she said at the end was, how interesting. That was all true in the past, but I've already worked through all that.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah. So they're there for a purpose, not to hold you back, but to help you move forward and to step into a greater arena for yourself, to grow and not stay stuck.
So you were right, but she'd already made leaps and bounds change.
Yes. Okay. She already did her inner work. So yeah. And it was amazing.
All right. So please continue. I'm going to step up for 1 second, but I am listening. So you got these numbers, or you went to this website, and what happened next?
So I scheduled my appointment, and it took a little while, but my appointment came around. I sent pictures. I sent my birth date, and that was it. This person knew nothing about me. She had never seen me. And it was, I mean, I was like just blown away with the information that she came up. I was like, you got this from my face and my birth date. Seriously? I mean, I had, we were all on this journey. We want to know more information as to, what's holding us back, or why certain things are happening, or whatever, or just to improve ourselves, right? So many times people will go to therapy. They might go to something like Landmark Education or workshops or whatever to improve, so they have a better experience, right? Well, I had too. And in all those years of all that research that I had done for myself, I had never been able to get the answers to the questions that she gave me. And it was recognizing things. I mean, I often say we're our own worst critics, right? We will judge and criticize ourselves to death. And this took what I was criticizing and judging myself for and actually shed a positive light on it, and made me realize that it was really a unique quality and to be used in a positive way. It wasn't negative. And
okay, the qualities about you, and it answered. So was it kind of like going to a psychic and she said, you're saving money for a trip, and you're like, oh yeah, I am? Or
no, it was like, so why am I so picky and persnickety about certain things? Or why do I need things done a certain way? Or why are details so important to me? I'm such a mothering nature and a teaching nature. I used to criticize myself for these things, or just really get, what's the word I'm looking for? Stubborn about them. And then I would wonder why. I was like, why am I this way? Or, you might wonder, when I was growing up, I had a girlfriend who was always like the center of attention and stuff, had many friends. And I had friends, but not anywhere near as many as she did. And she would say something and everybody would laugh. And I would say something and people would look at me like I'm a dork. And I was like, okay, so things like that. Why am I not like someone else? Well, I have my own unique qualities, and those are qualities that are positive, and they're there for a reason. And it's something to be celebrated and acknowledged and recognized, not to be criticized and judged for. So that type of thing.
All right, I just have to share real quick. You made me think of something, Julie. My father is a very funny man too, and I remember calling him up in tears one day, and I said, Dad, why do I have to be so passionate about so many things? Why can't I just stick to myself and let things be? And he said, because I raised you, you idiot. And he said, don't worry about being like somebody else. If you're passionate about something, then follow those passions. Don't worry about messing with somebody else.
That's right.
Feelings. Yeah. Okay.
And
so
that kind of brings me to another point, and this is another thing about face reading that I really, really love. We're born with certain things that we're naturally good at, that we naturally love, and that really feed us on a spiritual level. They really feed our soul and make us feel like a child again. So like, maybe I had one client who loved to dance when she was young, and her parents wouldn't let her dance. They wouldn't let her listen to music for the most part. So what was acceptable to her mother was roller skating. So she would roller skate every opportunity she got. So, she wasn't allowed to dance. That's something she really enjoyed doing, but she adopted it in another way. Or like people who are born maybe with artistic qualities, like brilliant artists, and maybe their parents want them to be doctors or lawyers or an architect or something. It's like, oh, no, that's not, that doesn't fit within the scope of what's acceptable to us. So what we do is we adapt to be loved and accepted. And then we kind of lose those passions and hobbies. And what happens is we end up like depressed, tired, maybe end up with an illness, wonder why there's a void in our life, and we're really not happy. And so face reading helps you pull those back in.
So
and recognize that those are good things and they feed you. Pardon?
So it's kind of like a self-identification.
It's right. Helps bring those back and helps you recognize what they are, and that those were actually good things, and not that, and why maybe they you had shoved them aside or disregarded them previously.
Okay, so what is a face reading? You went and had this face reading. What are we talking about?
Okay, so I had the face reading. She had pictures, like I said, of certain, positions of my face, and she had my birth date. So basically what it is, the way I describe it is, it's the interpretation and translation of the features of people's faces, which indicates their characteristics, their behaviors, their personality, their skills, and their traits. And it just answers a lot of questions as to why we are the way we are. So like I said, I was blown away with all the information she told me about myself. And I was like, really? This is crazy. And I wanted to learn more. So she had a workshop, just an introductory workshop in California. I flew out for that. That was 4 days. And then in that, she mentioned she had a training workshop coming up in a couple months. And I was like, oh my God, I have to do this. Is it okay for me to do this? And she said, if you can read my books, 3 times before you get here, sure. And I was like, okay, I read so fast and I'm a slow reader. So I went back out, took about a week off from my oil and gas contract job. And I was there 6 days. It was very intense. It was amazing. And I came back and there was a layoff. And I was like, So I thought to myself, this is probably the kick in the pants that I needed to get out and do something different, because I was not willing to let go of the money and the opportunity, even though I felt like I was dying inside. It was just like grueling. So I was thrilled, and I started my business and I started doing one-on-one readings, and now it's grown. I'm showing people in sales how to close more sales by learning how to read a face. Certain features apply specifically to sales to help people, never kill a deal again.
Okay, let me get this straight. So you were taking a class because you were thinking about doing your own thing. You wanted to be a coach in kind of the health and holistic area. Mm-hmm. From there, you kind of got sidetracked with an interest, kind of a piqued interest, and then you discovered this was a passion. Yes. You went, took vacation time from your full-time job. When you got back with the training, you were instantly free to do it. Is that how it works?
The universe kind of created a path for me. It was like, here you go do it. And I called her and I said, oh my God, I was just laid off. And she goes, I hate to toot my own horn, but you're really naturally very good at this. Go do this. And I was like, cool. So
well, what about all the business aspects of it? Like, how did you know where to start? Did she teach you that? I don't imagine she couldn't. Okay. So how did you go from working for somebody to working for yourself with an industry that is pretty out there?
Yeah. Well, I took something that people would call eccentric or, unusual, and created something, over the past couple of years that's really a powerful tool, both in relationships, meaning, like relationship with yourself, relationship with a spouse, a family member, a child, a boss, coworker, or relating to a potential client or a difficult client. It's all about relating with people, right?
So,
and why not understand them and how to interact better with them?
You took a pain point. People want to have better relationships. We know that's like a high niche right there. The love and relationship niche. But then you were networking with some ladies and they asked you a question, right? That's what I love, because that's how I make my products too. When people go, well, how do I do this? Oh,
let me give them what they want, right? So I was initially promoting a program I had for dating compatibility. So at that point, it was helping women who are looking for their ideal partner, not date the same man over and over again in a different body. So I would take their qualities that they were looking for, that they really wanted, and back up the track. So start out with the qualities they wanted in a partner and in a relationship, then and then match the features with the qualities, so that they could, of those people, weed through them, know it in a crowd, be able to spot people in a crowd that had those qualities. Is that cool or what? So, and
I'm just thinking that you go to the car, you're at the fair, and you're like, whoa, hold up, hey, you, let me talk to you.
Hey, turn to the side so I can see your profile. Pull your hair back. So, but that represented what they were looking for. And actually, one gal said she went home and pulled out pictures of people that she dated in the past that did not work out well. And she's like, none of them had the features that I gave her to look for. She's like, this is crazy. She was blown away by it. So
what's a feature?
There were several. Confidentially, I don't feel like I can share that. But anyway,
no, I don't mean about for her. What is a feature?
Oh,
What do you mean?
so it could be eyebrows, it could be forehead, it could be eyes, it could lips, cheeks, the shape, the size, hairline, ears, chin.
Okay.
I mean, you can tell things like sex drive to generosity to affectionate. I mean, it's all right there in the face.
So really, I mean,
Really.
like, so like there's like a little thing on their ear, like a little nub on their ear, and you have one too. That means that you might be a match in something.
That's a good question, but no. Um, you know, you might be someone who's not as affectionate, looking for someone who is affectionate. Maybe you want that from somebody, or maybe you want the same thing. So it depends. You know, many people, women like men who are generous, both in doing things themselves to help them, or to participate, or financially generous. So that there's a difference there too. They might want someone to balance them out in a certain way. So I just take the qualities they're looking for. It may or may not be a match to what they actually have as well, and go from there, so they know who to look for, what types of features to look for.
Oh, I just got a note. It's time for our game, Julie.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
Are you ready? Now there's
Just put the card up close so I can read it.
okay. So, well, it's your turn first, but the game today is I think it's called 5 second rule. So I'm just going to count down with my fingers so everyone can see what's going on. And you're going to have to name 3 things in 5 seconds. Okay. And I don't know if the first time you're watching this show, this is a party. So we keep things light. We play a little game halfway in between. So
I just name them?
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to
go? You tell me.
Yeah, you go first. In 5, I'll tell you what you have to name, and you're going to name them in 5 seconds.
Okay.
All right. You think you can do it? Name more than me?
Oh, just name anything?
Usually I lose at these things, so.
Okay.
All right.
So we do it the same. Say it out loud?
You're going to name 3 summer outdoor activities.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, volleyball, swimming, and surfing.
Oh, you did it in 4 seconds. Is volleyball really an out? Yeah, I guess that's a summer outdoor activity. I wouldn't want to play right now. It is. We're in Houston. It is hot. I think it's raining outside, and it's still like mega hot. We're both in ponytails. I don't know.
Okay, so it might be raining where you are, but Houston, it's sunny and dry over here. So.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm in the suburb.
Although it could be coming out this way, so you never know.
Yeah, well, it's been on and off, that heat drizzle that you think is going to cool you off and doesn't. That's what's going on. I love the downpours we get as long as I'm not driving in it.
All right. I don't mind driving in it as long as it's not flooding.
As long as it's not, yeah.
Flooding,
We've had a lot of floods here lately too. Yeah. Well, my dad on Facebook he did a live stream on Facebook. My own father did.
Cool.
And he did it from the freezer of the grocery store. I guess they had a tornado come in, and you could see grocery carts and everything at that.
Oh, wild.
He's okay. He's all right.
Good.
All right. Here's mine. Can you read it, or is it close enough?
Yes. Okay.
All right. What am I going to name?
Fiction authors.
3 fiction authors. All right.
Yep.
Brenda
3.
Trott. Christina. I'm a fiction author. All right, Julie, you win. Woo! All right, it's time to remind everyone, go ahead, if you have not yet, go ahead and subscribe here, and so that you get notifications when we're live, because they're not on a regular schedule. We just do it when we find interesting people to bring you. And go to get the show notes, go to pajamapartyprofits.com. There's a lot of freebies there also. And speaking of freebies, Julie, you had something that you wanted, somebody you piqued interest in, maybe not about the business side, but maybe just about this face reading and how it can help them with sales or relationships.
Yeah. So, right. What I'm working on now is helping people in sales be able to close more sales faster and more efficiently. And just, be able to customize their presentation. So if you will text 44222 and put the word feature, actually features, it's plural, FEATURES, you will be able to, it'll ask for an email, and you can, it'll email you a download for my Find Your Feature guide, which is really cool. It's got illustrations of different features on it, what they are, what they're called, and what some of the meanings are. That's always fun to play, either check out, see what they mean for yourself and find them true for yourself or other people in your life. The other thing I would like to offer to anybody interested is a complimentary strategy call with me. And to do that, email me at Julie, Julie, at yourinnerblueprint.com, and put in the subject PJ Pajama and then sales.
Ah, okay. PJ Pajama and sales, and yes. You'll get to talk to you live and in person?
Well, I'll send a link for a strategy call, and then we can coordinate it from there, from my calendar.
Wow, that's a very generous offer. That's really generous. You had a story to tell. I think you had like a picture though that you showed us about someone that you did help in sales, in car sales, right?
That wasn't me. That was Ford Motor Company. I think this is the one you're asking about. I was on a webinar, and one of my coaches texted me and said, "Hey, you got to get on this one." I was on another one. I can't hop off. But anyway, she said there was someone who was doing a sales webinar and mentioned that Ford Motor Company in 1929 actually had their salespeople use one of the facial features when they were interacting with their clients to help them sell more.
Okay.
Was that the story you're talking about?
Yeah, it could have been. I think, yeah, you said there's certain people out there and you just give them a little bit of information and that's what they need. And they'll make a decision right away. Other people, you give them a little bit of information and they need time. That's me. I think that's what you told me about me, right? Don't rush me.
We want the bottom line, but give you some time to think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't demand an answer right away. Give you some time.
Yeah. Don't give me all the niceties. Don't compliment my shoes. I know I live in Texas, but I'll compliment your shoes. I don't need you to compliment mine. And if I match my clothes, then I'm happy that, I'm not like a sore thumb, but I don't need all of that. But there were several things that you were able to tell us about the way people make decisions. And then the other thing that I questioned you about right away, I think I was the only person that asked, or first one to have a question, and because my mind was literally blown when you were explaining all these features. And that was, you looked at my eyebrows. I'm going to put me on here real quick. And you looked at my eyebrows, and what did you say about my eyebrows?
Quality and respect is important to you.
Quality and respect.
Yeah, like manners. So you'll treat people with manners and respect, and we'll want that in return.
Right. And then, and do you remember what I told you though?
No.
What is interesting is that my eyebrows, now I'm having the world look at my eyebrows, but I'm a girl from the 80s, and so my eyebrows come all the way down here, and all the 80s makeup was all up underneath the eyebrows. So I've changed my eyebrows so I could put makeup on there. Yeah. So I'm very much a casual person, very much a casual person. And so that's where you were like, oh yeah, you do ask if you make changes. But my question was, again, much like when you said we're imprinted with this, we have this destiny, and you said it's not really a destiny, but more lessons that we learn as we go. And I said, well, what happens? How do we, if we're working on self-improvement and all that, does that mean the bridge of my nose changes? Does that mean that the sunkenness of my eyes change?
Well, here's the deal. Some things will change. And, realistically speaking, it's going to take a lot more to change bone and cartilage than it does to change a wrinkle, right? So, what happens is we literally carve. So let me back up a second. Things that are inherited, that's not the end of the meaning of that. So that just means, like, if you have a nose that, say, has a certain meaning and your mother has that or your dad has that, they have the same meaning too. So they have that same trait that you do. And, like if you get into an accident or something, that affects the meaning of that feature that it impacts. Now, changing wrinkles, I mean, there's certain wrinkles that are really good to have and not good to change. But like, say you have a downturned mouth, that indicates, negative thinking, or like, negativity or sadness or upsetness about something's really bothering you. But if you were to just sometimes either just holding your mouth, holding it up a little bit, and then like holding a slight smile until you repeat it and make it a habit, it'll stay, and you'll start to feel happier, or think happier thoughts instead of negative thoughts all the time. I'm not going to say specifically who this was, but a relative of mine I hadn't seen in a long time and had been going through a really tough time in her life. And I saw her for the first time. This was a long time ago. And she had like anger embedded in her face. And I was like, wow. I mean, this is way before I knew about face reading, but I was like, I was really, I was shocked. Years later, things had changed in her life and she's a little happier, and that anger is gone. It's like what we think and what we feel, the thoughts we think, the words we say, and the emotions that we hold that really create a lot of the expression on our face that stays, and that will groove the lines and the shape. So
much like a wrinkle,
you can change it.
They call this the mom line, right? Because you're always scolding, that scold line. Well, I don't know if the Chinese call it that, but I'm just saying.
No, that's a different area. And that could do with several different things, but
I think what you're saying is similar. We form wrinkles on our face with repeated
experiences, and things will impact and create the look on your face, like the wrinkles or sometimes the shapes as well.
I know,
but they can change.
When I was 16 years old, I had a lot of stress in my life, and I had gray hair here and in certain areas. By the time I was 30, it was completely gone. And now that I'm, it's a little bit back, but I understand that it can change back and forth. You'd think gray hair would stay, but it didn't for me. So I think I get what you're saying.
Well, part of it too, sometimes it could be like an emotional thing or a psychological thing, an experience. It can also be like a health issue too. One of the things that face reading, way back when it started, Taoist monks were the original healers, but since they couldn't touch women because the traditions and cultures, they had to come up with a way to diagnose. So that was the first use for face reading that was born. And then from there, they discovered the behaviors and similarities too that were discovered in the face. So there's different levels. It could be a health ailment. It could be, an emotional thing. It could be an experience.
Julie, we're just about out of time, and I know that people just barely got a taste of what you do. And can you tell us the name of your website again?
My website is yourinnerblueprint.com, and my Facebook page is facebook.com/Julie Parker Biz, B-I-Z.
All right. And let me just ask you one bit of advice that you would give someone who might be in the same position you were in when you were in a lucrative job that just was not fulfilling. You had that drive to do something and you didn't know what it was. What kind of advice would you give them?
List your passions and your hobbies. And if you don't know what they are now, think of what they were when you were younger. What really feeds your soul?
Right. Yeah. In my book, Passion to Profits on Amazon, there's several questions I have in there. That's one of the biggest things. What did you want to be?
I love the title. And then, self-care and balance too. You can't do anything if you're exhausted, hungry, depressed, and coming from a place of lack. Fill yourself up.
Fill yourself, even if it's not from your job. Good advice there.
In any area of life. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I hope people take advantage of your offer to download your information. That'll provide them probably with that and maybe some more information from you. You'll keep in contact with them. And then, of course, if they want a strategy session for relationships or how to sell things.
Right.
How to sell. Exactly. So maybe they're already started in, do you work with people who are in multi-level marketing or?
Absolutely. And that's actually a two-part. I know we're close on time, but people in network marketing or direct sales, they're not only selling person to person or to the end user, but they're also recruiting. And there are features that work with both. So it's a huge tool for that.
Oh, right. So they can pick out the person who would be a good entrepreneur themselves. Yeah. Good. Can you just tell me without reading on my face, am I a good entrepreneur?
I don't think we have enough time for that. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks, Brenda.